You in this battle, man, I'll soon be dead. I'll glue your face to my dick so I can fuck with your head. I got metaphors coming through my pores. You probably never been in a battle before, so I hope you realize your mistake. There ain't no party, got some candles, this will be a piece of cake.
Folks, welcome to the Before Hours podcast, internet radio phenomenon hosted by an occasional morning person. I ask the most interesting people I know about their sleep, their routine, life, love, stress, and setbacks. If you want to talk to us, you can. My DMs are open on Instagram at Bobby Sheen LOL, or you could email us at the Before Hours podcast at gmail.com. Tell us about your morning routine or anything else you want to tell me. But for now, we're going to welcome a good friend and comedian, Cesh Reyes. How you doing, Cesh?
Hi, I'm good.
What's
I'm
up?
Good. How are you?
I am good. We were outside talking shop a little bit now. We were talking a lot about business.
Yes, the political side of everything.
The political side of getting stage time.
Yes.
Yes, because you, if I understand correctly, you're a stand-up comedian?
I am, yeah.
Yes, as am I. I like that you looked into the camera as you said that. I am?
It's starting to feel like The Office, where I'd be like, yep.
I do that constantly. I think for those watching, it must be annoying because I do consider myself an edgy Jim Halpert. Like Jim Halpert, if sometimes he says the R word.
The R word? What's the R word to you?
Folks, I'm just telling her what the word is. It's retard or retarded.
Oh.
What other R words went through your head?
Well, that one, I just wanted you to say it. That was it.
Damn, dude. Cesh, you're going to get me canceled. That's crazy.
Well, I'm trying this thing where we have, like the Me Too movement, but it's like the hashtag #ReToo movement. We bring back the R word.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Hashtag #ReToo. I love that,
#ReToo.
dude.
We'll start it. Just big.
You know what I've been thinking about is that word. It's like it's the one word where it's the one slur, if you want to call it a slur, where like I think the reason why it's still holding on is because in no scenario will I be in public and I call my friend a retard and then there's a gang of special needs folks.
A gang? You mean like a butt? Never mind.
Yeah, remember, you're supposed to cancel me, not cancel yourself.
We're like a minute into this and it's
We're
already
a minute, dude. Oh, also, I'm pretty sure, Jamie, what's the rule? How soon into... Because isn't there a thing if you say like shit or fuck or piss within like the first minute in YouTube, it like you're buried in the algorithm? Is that true or is that something I made up?
Okay, run it back.
Run it back. No, it's good. It's a good time. So I'm here. You're here. You are drinking a seltzer.
Celsius.
It's a Celsius. Well, what is a Celsius?
It's an energy drink that apparently has like 200 grams of caffeine, but it's like healthier than... It's basically a pre-workout.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you were like, I'm podcasting this morning. I have to be ready.
Oh, yeah. Before I interact with anybody, I have to like chug one of these.
Okay. So you're a caffeine person.
I am.
But you're not a coffee person.
I am. I drink these to like balance, because I work at a coffee shop and yesterday I drank like 4 cappuccinos. And so that means I can't drink coffee today. So I drank a Celsius instead.
Hold on. So yesterday you drank 4 cappuccinos.
Yeah.
And then you're like, that's my coffee. I've no more coffee for the rest of the day, week. How's that work?
It's like if I go out yesterday, I can't go out today kind of thing, where it's like supposed to be like a balance.
I guess I'm having trouble understanding because you're still drinking caffeine.
Yeah.
But is it because this is what I've been more conscious of.
It's mind tricks.
It's mind tricks.
Mind
okay.
tricks.
So you're trying to trick your own brain.
Yeah.
I relate to that so much, dude.
Yeah.
I was telling my friend the other day, it's all about me creating systems that don't allow me to tell myself a story in which I could do whatever I want. You know what I mean? Like the listeners know that I carry vegetables around with me. I mean, you saw me eating carrots outside.
Yeah.
Because if I don't have vegetables in my backpack...
That's such a broad term. That just sounds like you have beets in your backpack. Yeah. It's like a whole bag. You seem like a guy with just a bunch of like raw, dirty vegetables in your bag. Not in a bad way, but like a good way. You know?
That's like crust punk level, I think. That's like those guys
crust punk?
Yeah, you ever been on St. Mark's and you see like those punk rock looking homeless people?
Yeah.
Like they're not like Vietnam veteran homeless. They're like middle class, but like fuck the system homeless.
Yeah.
You know, white guy, hacky sack, dreadlocks, leftover crack tattoos.
Yeah, like the guy from, did you ever play Viva Pinata?
Mm-mm.
Oh, okay. Where there's a guy on Viva Pinata that just wears all the pinata stuff and he has like seeds and he just, never mind. You have to like see him, but.
Damn. There's a lot of characters in New York, dude. There's the people that feed pigeons constantly.
Yeah.
I don't understand that.
You don't?
Do you think you could ever be so lonely where you're like, the pigeons are my friends now?
Yeah. You don't? Because there's one lady at Washington Square Park. She wears a pigeon head and she wears gray and black and she just walks around them and she pretends to eat like what the guys are throwing around. And I understand her on a very like raw level.
You're going to have to expand on that.
Like she just seems so free.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like for her to do that, she's had to go through like a bunch of things.
Nice.
Not saying that I have.
Yeah, no, not yet. You know.
Yeah,
we'll
not
see.
yet. Give me a couple years in comedy and I'll end up being that one lady. But instead I'll be like the one with the rats. Just
the rat queen.
the rat queen.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I think that's yeah, it is. I think that shows that you have a lot of empathy if you could look at someone and being like, you're like, I'm not too far away from I'm like 3 things away from being exactly like that person. Yeah. You know? I don't know.
You could be the guy feeding the pigeons and I'll be the pigeon lady. Ooh. In a couple years from now, and they'll be like the before and after.
I did have a homeless guy at the Delancey Essex train stop. So if anybody listening lives in or is familiar with New York, you know that that's the train station where all the shit happens.
Yes.
It's there's no law and order, and that there's 3 different boom boxes playing. People are panhandling. Someone's always screaming. There's always a foreign guy that I have to help. There's always like a 80-year-old guy with a like indescript accent that is like showing me an address. That's the thing. This has happened to me more than once at that station where they'll have a piece of paper with just an address and they'll be like, where to go? Where? And like as if I'm going to see an address and be like, oh yeah, it's 3 blocks that way. You know?
My gosh.
So I have to pull out Google Maps on my phone.
Yeah.
And then, tell them how to get to where they're going. But that has happened to me more than once.
That happens to me with a lot of like Asian tourists.
And they think that you speak the language that they speak? Yeah.
They start speaking to me in their language and I have to be like, I am not, and I always feel bad though, because I feel like I should be helping.
Yeah.
Right.
I think even if they're like, okay, I still have to speak English to this person, it's like less intimidating than if they spoke to me. You know what I mean? Because they're like, there's no way he like relates to us at all. Yeah. And you probably don't relate to them either, but they think that you might.
Yeah, and the thing is, I try to relate, and it doesn't come off well. Because one time there was like a Japanese guy I'm not going to do the accent, but like he asked me where to go, and my voice like lowered, and I went, oh, like I was like, that was my way of trying to be like, I'm trying to be helpful right now, so I'm going to try to sound like you or something. Yeah. And it's not, it's not coming off well.
Also, as Patrice O'Neill once said, Japanese people are the white people of Asians. So if anything, you could be like, fuck off, colonizer. Get out of here. Yeah.
We have a bad history with them too, like Filipinos and Japanese people.
So you're Filipino.
Yes, I'm Filipino.
Filipinos and specifically, I think Asians in general are like trepidatious around Japanese people.
I didn't know about that until recently though.
But what's the history with why don't Filipinos like Japanese people, generally speaking?
There was, I forgot which war it was, but there was a time when Japanese people were in the Philippines, and the Philippines had these like comfort women where like they would, I don't know if it was like a brothel or a prostitution thing, but it would be like one woman would get basically R-worded by.
That's the other R word.
That's the other R word. She would get retarded by. No, she. But she would sleep with like probably like 30 men, and like she had no choice. Ugh. And it was like one after the other, like for like years.
That's wild.
So, and some of them are still alive now.
That's the thing, is we think we're so far removed from like World War II and all that stuff, and they're like, no, there's still people. There's people that still have the tattoos from the concentration camp there. Yeah, we like to think that it was like so long ago.
Yeah, some of them are still getting it now. No, kidding. Yeah.
So that's what you said, all that to the Japanese guy that needed directions.
Yes, and I did it with the accent, so he would get it. So
I had going back to my run-in with an interesting guy at the subway station. He's like an older homeless guy, black guy, and people beeline to me. I think you
what
might.
is it about you?
I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think you and I have a similar vibe where we seem friendly and people just want to bother us. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think more people want to bother you, but a lot of people bother me as well.
Why do you think people want to bother me?
Because you're also a woman. You have
That's
a friendly
true.
face and you're a woman. That's 2 strikes.
That's true. It's red flags.
Yeah. So this guy came up to me and he was like, "Hey man, you know who you look like?" And I'm like, all right, he's either gonna say Ed Sheeran or Mark Zuckerberg. And either one, I'd be like,
Oh my God.
you know, I was just ready to be like, haha, very funny, you know. And he goes, "You know who you look like? Oprah Winfrey." And I was like, that is so fucking funny, dude. Like he really did get me.
Good.
And then he was like, "Can I have money?" And I said no. But for a second, I'm like, do I give this guy money? But then it's one of those things. If I give that guy money, I have to give every person money on the train. Yeah. That actually happened to me about a week ago. That's been my weirdest run-in New York for a while. Have you had any weird run-ins lately?
Lately I tried giving a guy $1 and he was like, "I don't want that. I want crack." But in my head, I was like, you could buy crack with this. But he didn't want that. He wanted like straight to the source kind of situation.
It's interesting to me that he saw you and was like, "This lady has crack."
Yeah. You know, I don't have a very crack carrying face.
No, crack carrying. If you told somebody
Crack carry face, CCF.
if you told someone they had CCF, I think it would destroy their lives. Unless that was their thing. They're like, "Yes, I do smoke crack." You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
That'd be that's a good new insult. Because right now it's easy to draw. Like you look easy to draw.
I haven't heard this.
You haven't heard that?
No, is that an insult?
If you think it is.
You look easy to draw.
Yeah. Like you look really simple.
Oh.
I feel like I take that as an insult.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Right?
It's interesting that mid is an insult now.
Was it a compliment before?
No, I said that wrong. I don't think it's ever been a compliment, but if you break it down, mid means middle, meaning average. And if someone said I'm average looking, I would be so grateful. I'd be like, "Well, thank you very much." I choose to take that as a compliment, but I feel like we're like in an era where everyone wants to be the best. Like everybody wants like the highest follower count. They want to be like the best looking, the funniest, the most popular. So if you tell someone they're average, that comes across as an insult.
I see that. I feel like everyone just wants to be different, like unique. Because there was, it was in like 2016, everyone was calling everyone basic and no one wanted to be that. Like no one wants to be mid, normal, normies.
Oh, a normie. Yeah, normie is like, normie or basic.
Yeah.
Damn. I don't know. I don't think I've ever been basic. That's the one compliment I'll give myself is that I'm not boring.
That's good.
Yeah. We'll see. But I'm also not everybody's cup of tea. You know what I mean? You feel that. I don't know. Well, do you feel that when you're on stage where you look at some people and you're like, this person will never like me?
Like me, I'm on the stage or they're on the stage.
You're on stage performing and you could, in the rooms where you could see all the faces of the audience members.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe this is a me thing. When I look at certain people like stone facing me, I'm like, there's nothing I could do. They hate me on sight or they hate my vibe almost immediately.
I see it as like a challenge.
Oh.
Yeah. Like I'm going to get you. If it's not now, it's going to be like after this.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's probably a healther way to look at
it.
Right? Because the way I've been doing it is like 10% of people on stage. I think Louis said this. 10% of people are just not gonna like you.
Yeah.
So if I see people stoning me, if they're sitting with their arms crossed, I'm like, it's not gonna happen. It's not in the cards for me. You know what I mean?
Oh.
Yeah. But maybe that's dumb.
I see it differently because my body language is usually like that. Like I could be having an amazing time talking to you right now and I'll be like this. And I'll be like, this is so much fun. I'm having a great time. Even though my body's like, I'm deathly afraid I want to leave. So that's how I see it for other people. I don't know. People are always like, oh, you have to read everybody's body language. But it's like, I don't have good body language.
Yeah. Okay. That's it. Well, I do. That does make sense to me because sometimes I'll see like someone in the audience will not be laughing. Like they're paying attention, like they're attentive, but they're not laughing. And then after the show, they'll be like, "That was great. I had so much fun." I'm like, I didn't see your mouth move. You didn't make any noise the whole time. But some people I think are very reserved and introverted, and that's just the way they take in the world.
Oh, like the people that don't laugh out loud, but they just go,
yeah. Oh, that's quiet laughers, dude.
oh my gosh.
If you're a quiet laugher, anybody listening out there that's a quiet laugher, please don't go to a comedy show. Please stay home.
Or go and practice becoming a laugher or practice your laugh beforehand. Actually, no, I feel like the craziest laughs are the best at comedy shows. You know?
Oh, I have a fucking cackle. You know.
Oh yeah.
So that's.
But the thing is, every time we hear your laugh, we know it's you.
Yeah, yeah. I don't. But I don't like. I'm not like generous with my laughter. But like that's the thing is I like at an open mic I'll be like my laughter is not a barometer of what does and does not work on stage because I laugh at weird shit. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you surprise me. And I feel like you probably feel this way too. Like as a comedian, you're like, I get surprised less because I can anticipate punchline. But if you really surprise me, damn, then I'll give you my. It is a cackle, and I've had people.
It's not a bad one though.
I've had. This is how insecure comedians can get. I've had more than once a comic at open mic accuse me of laughing. Of fake laughing, basically.
That happened to me too.
Yeah.
That happened to me. Oh my God. Yeah. Someone called me out because like no one else, there was like probably 15 of us. No one else was laughing. The guy was actually funny on stage and I was laughing at everything he was saying because I thought it was funny. And a comic next to me was like, God, like he like did that. I don't remember who it was. It was like way beginning of the comedy career. So I think I was still like not desensitized to comedy, but the comic was like, well, it was funny, right? I think it was funny. She thinks it's funny. And he was like, oh, she's just being nice.
Yikes, dude.
I was like, oh, God. And then I left after that. And then it was a quiet room for the rest of the night.
Yeah.
Like, you just lost someone that was going to laugh at stuff.
I have had that before. Well, the thing is, too, to laugh when no one else is laughing, I think shows like security.
Yeah.
Like you don't need like the social like approval to laugh. But I have had like a comic on stage has said like to me, all right, buddy, relax. Right.
Whoa.
And yes, literally. And then in a situation like you just described where I'm like the only one that's like really even paying attention or laughing. And then, I mean, that makes me not want to laugh anymore.
Yeah.
And then this has happened more than once where they'll be like, all right, you're laughing too much. And then they'll do the rest of their set to complete silence. And then they'll be like, the fuck, everybody. And I'm like, you just set a precedent that you might tell people that are laughing that they should be quiet.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like if that ever happened again, I would laugh more and louder.
While giving them the finger.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. There is a certain type of person that does open mics that, and I feel like this only exists in New York City, where they will, practicing their craft to them is reciting lines that they memorized to absolute silence. And then they're like, I did it. I did comedy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So like even I feel like that's what happened with that guy. Like I interrupted his rhythm and he's like, that's not how this works is I say stuff to complete silence and then I go home.
Yeah.
Which seems weird.
Yeah. There's not to talk shit about anybody, but I know there's some comics that like prefer that. Like those are their favorite mics.
Yikes.
Where it's like nobody laughs. They're like, this is what real comedy is.
No, that
I was like, oh, are you sure?
Are you sure?
You think this is what real comedy is? Because imagine going to go see like a big stadium show, like see Louis C.K. or anybody, even Dave Attell at like the Comedy Cellar, and it's complete silence. And you're like, this is what it's all about, you know? Oh.
That it's interesting. I think we all deal with like the insecurity that doing stand-up causes, you know, because it's when you're at your most vulnerable. You're on stage and people either laugh or they don't, and people deal with the silence in different ways. And one of them could be like, I'm actually a real artist because I'm doing this. I was hanging out at a club and somebody had referred to someone that's good at comedy as being a hack.
Oh.
And I was like, but I've never heard, like, a hack is better than whatever it is that you're doing. You know, at least a hack gets laughs.
Yeah.
You know, a hack is like, aren't women different? And people are like, LOL, yeah, they are. And then good to go.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about, you know, it's always the guys that want to talk about comic books. It's always the superhero comedians, guys. They're
really?
Yeah, I'm sure I'm alienating listeners right now, but I feel like.
Oh, you mean this person?
Yeah.
Start naming open micers,
dude. Well, this isn't my idea. Somebody told me about it recently, but they're like, we don't have common experiences anymore, and we're less social than we used to be.
Think so?
A lot of people do premises where they're like, so I was watching this TV show or I was watching this movie. Like, it's a lot of, well, isn't this a plot hole in this movie? You know what I mean? Because like, that's people's lives now. I do think we're less social. Do you disagree with that?
No, I get it. I think we're more social, but we don't know how to do it. Because like we're like everyone knows what everybody's doing, but when it comes to like talking to people, I've noticed some people like shut down.
Okay.
Like more often now.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I also feel like if I'm in a social situation and there's any bit of awkwardness, a lot of people go for their phones right away.
Yeah.
Whereas like
I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I try not to.
Right now I just pull my
yeah.
Okay.
I get if there's like an awkward pause in the conversation. What I can't stand, and comedians are notorious for this, is I'm talking to them and then they pull out their phone and it's not even like, excuse me, I have to answer this text message. They will just scroll Instagram. And I'm like, well, I guess I should go fuck myself then. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But I think we're a certain type of person is so like, they're so dopamine fried that even like talking to some, because no matter how interesting a person is, at some point they're going to be boring.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the second the person you're talking to gets boring, you're like, I need bright colors in front of my face now.
That happens a lot with like when you're talking to like groups of comics, because once everyone has like said if you're all riffing and everyone said their joke and then there's that bit of silence, you could kind of feel it in the air. And then that's when everyone goes like that immediately.
Yeah. It's sad. So you are from California.
I am. Yeah.
So did you start comedy in California?
No, I started here.
You started here. So did you, well, walk me through your origin story. You grew up in California.
I grew up in California, San Francisco Bay Area. Let's go Niners.
Oh, yes. So I record the episode super early. So I think this is coming out in like mid-March, but this is the day of the Super Bowl. So the 49ers, congratulations to the 49ers, or 49ers, you'll do it next year. Maxim, can we clip and then we'll use the appropriate one? Thank you.
I love that we don't know right now.
We don't?
Yeah. It's kind of like looking into the past.
Do you follow football at all?
Only if there's someone good looking on it. And then I just figured out Jimmy G isn't even like the quarterback for them anymore.
Ooh.
Yeah. Do you know about Jimmy Garoppolo?
So, Cesh, the thing is, you might actually know more about football than you do.
Okay.
I'm a guy that doesn't know about football.
Okay.
I am going to a Super Bowl party tonight.
Yeah, I think we're going to the same one.
Yeah. It's going to be a good time, dude.
It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the same thing for like, do you know who Shohei Ohtani is? Oh, he's this really good looking baseball player. And that's the only time I've gotten into baseball. Yeah. I watched like a whole season last year just to watch him run. So yeah, that's the only time I ever get into sports.
So, sir, if you're listening, Cesh Reyes.
Shohei Ohtani, I know you're in LA right now because I've been stalking you, but come to New York.
Yeah. And that would be perfect. I mean, he's a baseball player, you're a comedian.
Exactly.
It'd be perfect.
It'd be perfect. I don't. He doesn't speak much English, but he does have a translator, so I think it could work out.
Just you and him, a candlelit dinner, and the translator sitting next to both of you.
I think about it like he would come over to my place, and his translator could just like be behind a curtain or something, kind of like what we're having right now.
Yeah, Maxim's in the back in case we have trouble understanding each other.
Exactly.
You could translate. Have you ever been on a date with somebody who wasn't like fluent in English?
No.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because I talk really fast when I'm nervous, and I feel bad if someone would not like understand me.
Yeah.
Not that I don't want to slow down for them, but I feel bad if like they miss things. Kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you?
A few times, but it's almost never worked out. Because same thing, I talk very fast.
Yeah.
And also the thing I have going for me is that I can be funny on a first date, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're not fluent in English, you might miss stuff. Like tell a joke and she's like, I am sorry, what does that mean? And then I'm like, oh, I'm not going to repeat it. And then you're going to be like, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So yeah, it doesn't, that's a thing too, is like, that's an automatic swipe left for me. If they're like, my English isn't perfect, but I'm trying to learn. I don't know what accent this is. But yeah. But I'm like, all right, it's just not gonna, I feel, cause my thing is I riz my way into a woman's affection. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I don't necessarily.
Like, is this like an overtime thing, or are you doing this on Bumble?
Oh, yeah. Like if a woman on a dating app is like, cause that's like a new trope that I've seen is like, just moved to New York. English isn't perfect, but maybe you could help me learn, which is like cute and fun. But I'm like, it's not gonna happen. You know what I mean? Cause the language barrier, again, like I can't be like, here's what the joke meant.
Yeah.
I'll use different words and I'll speak slower. Maybe she'll be like, oh, I get it. But you don't get that visceral, like, he's so funny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. I have a lot of weird deal breakers, I think.
What are your deal breakers?
Well,
this is so exciting.
Yeah. I've been putting more thought into it recently because, and this sounds so sad to say, but you do have to think about what the algorithm thinks about you.
Like the dating app algorithms?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like if I because I used to be like when I was younger, I'd be like, she's pretty, like 7 out of 10 women are pretty to me. You know what I mean? But now I'm like, I'm using this to preface that it's going to make it sound like I'm pickier than I actually am.
Ladies, he's single.
I'm single, lady. Oh, the ladies all.
They know I'm single.
The 7% of listeners that are women know that I'm single. That I did check the analytics recently, and I was surprised that it was that high.
7% women.
Yeah.
What if it's all the women that like you've been on dates with?
That is possible.
All the foreign women.
I have been on a first date where a woman did say that she listened to my podcast, and I was like, dude, I feel like she has so much intel on me. It's a power imbalance for sure.
Oh, that's the first thing I look for if I ever go on a date with a guy. I look him up.
Okay.
Because there was one time a guy did a podcast and I like watched a good like 3 of them.
Whoa.
Yeah. And I was like, he's going to talk about me.
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's what's funny is like women will be like, are you going to put me in one of your little skits?
Oh my God.
And I'd be like, not if it goes well. Like if it goes well, like me having a nice time isn't funny. Yeah. It's incentive for the date to be good because I'm like, listen, if you are a crazy person, then you'll make it into one of my little skits, so to speak.
That's true.
Yeah.
Does this happen to you? This is kind of random, but does this happen to you on dates where like if you don't really like the person, you're funnier and you have a better time?
No, it's the opposite for sure.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because if right away I get that the vibe isn't gonna work,
yeah,
I'll do my best because I'm already there. You know what I mean? Like I still present the best version of myself, but it definitely doesn't help. I think if we're vibing,
the best version of yourself doesn't help.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I don't know. I think very quickly, and I vibe with like most people. I think that if they're sort of negative, I'm turned off immediately. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, I hate those people.
That is a swipe left for me if they're like and I get it. I get that we all have baggage. We're all, especially as we get older, you know, we're like post college, we've all dealt with shit, you know what I mean? But like if they're like, I'm looking for a real man who isn't going to waste my time and who has his shit together, I'm like, this is too much.
Wait, is that negativity to you?
I think so. I think, yeah, because it
Woman
doesn't.
with standards? Okay, I'm sorry. I want
If
her
she has any
fucked up.
standards, yeah.
I want instability.
I think by the way, you making me laugh did make me fart, and it does smell in here. I have to address that right away.
Funny.
And that's I feel like that's bad incentive because we should be funny on the podcast, but I did recently eat, so if I expel energy, I might fart.
It's okay.
So this is so ironic that I'm talking about like my deal breakers, and then I just like stunk up the room. But yeah, I think it's more of the tone. I think like if she's like, here are my deal breakers, you know, and they're sort of like, you could tell she's sort of been through the ringer. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because I could pick up on the vibe that the first date is going to feel like a job interview. You know?
Okay.
Where she's like, how much money do you make?
Oh, she has like the checklist in her head, and she's like marking them off, telling you whether you pass or not at the end.
And I, dude, I mean, especially because I'm 33. So if a woman's 33 and she wants a family, then I get that the timeline is shorter than mine. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So I get like the no BS attitude, but I don't know. There's okay. Let's. Can I ask you the same question? If a guy has like a checklist, or you're like, this guy sucks, or you're like, oh, interesting, let's see if I fit the checklist.
I think I like it. Mostly because like if I fit somebody's standards, I think that's like a good thing. If someone like knows what they want.
Interesting.
But the issue right now is that like with me doing comedy, I cannot be with someone like super stable and like super good making like 7 figures. I think.
Interesting.
Because then I would not be enough for them.
Ooh.
But that's where like the whole insecurity with dating comes in.
Yeah, it's interesting. Not being enough is probably not the best way to look at it. If you feel like our lifestyles are incompatible. Incompatible, is that
incompatible? Yeah. Yeah.
It's interesting that we're talking about this because I hope this is okay to mention, but part-time you work as a matchmaker?
I do, yeah. That's why I love talking about all like the dating stuff and what people like and don't like.
So what is a matchmaker?
Basically we just work with we get paid to work with single people and figure out what's wrong with them and then tell them not to talk about it during dates so they will get married.
Yikes.
That's the biggest part of it.
Now, are your clients men, women?
It's a lot of women, but it's like women trying to get matched with men, but right now it's a lot of men trying to get like their families off their backs. Like a lot of it, for the most part, it's a lot of men that have worked their entire lives on their career, and now that they're like in their 40s, 50s, their families are like, when are you going to settle down? So they pay a certain amount of money to get married and start a life. It's like capitalizing romance.
Yeah, I imagine because there's a fee involved that like your clients are usually, are they wealthy then?
Yeah. Most of the time, yeah.
And so is it fair to say like your male clients, they're like, obviously they have their shit together like career and finances wise, but like are they awkward? Are they weird?
A little bit, yeah. Because if you spend your whole life on your career and you don't have any time to learn about how to date, then some of them kind of just come in like, I want this, this, and this. Find me somebody. Like, that's it.
Okay.
Which is, I understand I said was like something I wanted before. But now the things that they like are like, I want her shorter than me, black hair, Jewish. And that's it. Yeah.
The Jewish thing I understand if they're also Jewish.
Yeah.
It'd
be crazy if they weren't.
The first two seem sort of strange to me.
Yeah.
I can't imagine being that specific.
Yeah. That's specific. It seems so general.
Oh, shorter than me and a certain color hair are 2 parameters that I don't have.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So to me, that feels very specific.
Okay.
Like, I don't know if this guy's at a party and a blonde woman who's 2 inches taller than him is they're like vibing. He's like, can't do it. So sorry.
Oh, okay. I kind of get that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Because if I go to a place and I see, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense. But I think because like a lot of the women, they're like, I want someone that like makes me laugh and will trying to think like long walks on the beach
Ooh.
and stuff like that. They have like very specific things.
Mhm.
Like they'll talk to my mom about her gardening, like stuff like that. Like,
Okay.
they get really into it.
Whereas the men, it's like two
Like
of
that one.
Yeah, yeah, and
You
it's
know?
all it's physical more than anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of interesting.
That's why like Hinge and like dating app profiles now are like changing, where it's not just about the pictures anymore. It depends on your answers.
Yeah. Yeah, because the pictures thing is it's just like, do you pass the threshold?
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah. Plus, a lot of pictures lie nowadays. So
interesting. I will say my first picture in my dating profiles is my headshot. This is the best picture of me, of course.
your headshot of that okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, and it is like Bumble has this thing where they're like the AI will like pick the best picture. Because I felt like kind of a dildo for a little while using my headshot, and then Bumble's like, no, you should use your headshot. It's the best picture of you.
Oh.
I don't take any like every picture, but because I'm just an awful photographer, like I will take like the most cringy fucking selfie with like the bad lighting. I'm sure you've seen those all the time,
Yeah.
right? Especially like older guys. They have their fucking, for some reason their chin is back.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
It's always the blurriest photos, and then they put in photos from when they were like 22, but they're
Yeah.
like 50 now.
Okay, so we're talking about deal breakers. This is gonna sound unlikable because it is. Seth.
Yes.
But if there is a when I'm looking at a woman's profile, if there is a weight disparity, that's bad. That's a bad sign.
Okay.
Because I feel like what that is.
You have like an over under?
Oh, it just can't be overweight, but
Oh my God.
is that bad to say?
No, it's just crazy the way you said it. Sorry, no, keep going.
And brown hair and Jewish. I'm joking.
Okay. I had a whole like, oh my God, I just talk about Bobby. Like that's what just happened.
You forgot that I was one of your clients.
Yeah, I was
You're
like,
I had this
oh.
redheaded comedian
Oh, God,
that
so
knows
annoying.
too much about the president and sometimes struggles with flatulence. And good luck with this one. But no, I feel like because because from experience, if there's a weight disparity in her photos, like she looks one way in one photo and then like maybe 20 pounds heavier in another photo, then in my experience, she will be in person heavier than her heaviest picture. I'm coming off like an asshole right now, but I feel like no, dude, because I feel like what they're doing is they're like, I'm being honest.
I know you are. That's why this is good.
I feel like in their mind, they're saying, I'm being honest because here's me at my best, which you should use a picture at her best, right? That's why I'm using my headshot. So she's like, here's me at my best, and here's me pretty much how I look now, but it will still be better than how she looks now.
What are you afraid of with dating an overweight woman?
Ooh, it's just an attraction thing to me.
Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Attraction's I understand the whole attraction thing.
Yeah. And I mean, I'd be an asshole if I was also overweight. And I know those people exist where they're like, listen, I like to snack, but no fatties for me. You know what I mean? But I think that's my only physical parameter. I don't even mind if a woman is much taller than me. In fact, that's exciting.
What about like a 6'7" woman?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think there's
Would you let her like carry you?
I would beg her to carry me.
Please.
Yeah, I don't, you know what it is? I don't think a tall woman is unfeminine.
Oh.
And I think some men feel like it is.
A lot of men do.
I don't at all.
Okay, that's
and
good.
I'm already
You're really balancing yourself out in all this.
Yeah. Well, in case that sounded like I was virtue signaling, I'm not, because the taller she is, the less likely she is to be overweight.
Okay, she's like more stretched out.
Yeah. Because if she's 6'7", 200, That's perfect.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
And then she just beat the shit out of me.
Ooh. Why do I feel like you like that?
I don't, but it's
like you'd
funny
want
to
to be
say.
thrown at the wall.
No, I'm very vanilla. I don't have. Okay. So have you heard of Field?
Yes.
The idea. How do you feel about Field? Before I say how I feel.
Well, I just didn't know what it was for the longest time, and I thought it was like you meet people to play sports in the city. Because someone told me there was an app for that. Like you could go meet at Chelsea Piers to play soccer, and then I downloaded it, and it's not that. So I'm a little hurt, but like I know what it is now.
Yeah. That's so funny. And guys, like, I'm looking for a rough play. You're like, yeah, I mean, football is a contact sport.
Yeah.
For those that don't know, it's like basically it's another dating app, but I guess it comes from the idea of playing the field. That's where the name Field comes from.
Oh.
And
but it's like FEE, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And I've never been on it, but my friend showed me it, and it was basically
okay.
my friend. And it's basically like you could list out all like your kinks.
Oh.
Right. But
is it like options, or do you have to type them out?
I don't know. I imagine that maybe there's, you know how like in Bumble you could be like, they have options for like your interests where you could be like exercise or reading or photography. Maybe it's something like that, like BDSM.
You're like, oh, I didn't know about that one.
Yeah, I didn't even know that existed. Jeez.
What's beating?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. The idea, I think I've said this on the podcast before, but that the idea of like listing your kinks and just like that's how you choose somebody sort of makes me sad.
Really? Why?
Because it's a reduction of intimacy, I feel like. Because if you're on a date with someone and it's going well and like you're headed back to their place and you sort of have that, either it's a conversation that comes organically or it's just something you figure out while you're hooking up, that's very intimate. But if it's just like, well, yes, I saw on the dating profile that you like, you know, this or that. It feels like a loss of intimacy, I think. It feels like Mark Zuckerberg is getting too involved in our lives.
Oh, I understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, you know, you wanted to learn about them with this, not like it's like when someone watches your podcast before they go on a date with you. You know? It's like, oh, you know too much now.
I did feel that way, but also I'm like, I'm always happy to have a new listener. Yeah. You know what I mean? I'm like, hey, do you want to go out again? And she's like, no, you're weird. And I'm like, totally understand, but can you please give the podcast 5 stars? Yeah. And, you know, and a rating, you know. I don't know. Have you been on a bad date recently?
Recently? The only oh my God. It was only like, yeah. Where it was like, we got like food from a bodega. Like he was like, oh, we're gonna get dinner. And then we got food at the bodega, like near his place. He was like, oh yeah, I know a really good spot. We went to a bodega near his place. And then we went back to his place. And then after we did stuff, he was like, I'm not really looking for a relationship.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. And I was like, okay. Oh, then like, well, anyways.
In all fairness, you should have picked that up from the bodega.
From the bodega. No, and I was like, what if it's good? You know, and I just don't know. I was trying to be so open-minded about it. But
that is an admirable level of open-mindedness. You're like, maybe this gentleman knows the best bodega in New York City.
It just seems too open-minded now that it's like come out of my mouth.
It's interesting where people's like ideas, the spectrum of people's ideas of like what a first date can be, because I've never had the gall to take a woman to a bodega, but because I am an artist.
You should try it now.
No.
Set the standard real low.
Dude, I don't know. In some ways I'm open-minded, but in some ways I'm traditional. And in the way that I'm traditional is that a date should be an okay restaurant in which I pay. You know what I mean?
Restaurant. Okay.
It doesn't have to. It's not a Michelin star restaurant.
Oh no.
My go-to is like either Mexican food or Thai food.
Oh, that's good.
Which is like, but it's not gonna be like $100+ for the meal. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like if the date goes bad, you're like, okay, it wasn't like bad.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know. It was okay, worth it in some sense.
Yeah. That's. Damn, that's so fun. I think the bad dates that I've been on have been like, they're just sort of boring. You know what I mean? Like, you ever
Oh.
feel like you're like, I'm fucking pulling teeth right now?
Yeah, where there's no like, it's not like a push and pull.
Mhm.
Is that the way to? Yeah, like they're not giving anything back.
Yeah.
What's it called that British people they say banter?
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's no banter, there's no
banter.
riffing,
Mhm.
there's
Yeah,
no
you
back
gotta.
and forth.
And listen, like you and I, we're good at banter and riffing because it's part of our job.
Yeah.
So I'm not holding up to them to my standards. But dude, here's the thing: if I ask a question and they don't ask the same question back,
Dude, I want to stab myself in the neck every time someone. Yeah. Okay. Continue.
no, that's it. Stab in the neck. That's oddly specific.
It's just I don't know why, but like I just want to grab a fork and like ask me how like what I do or something like that. Not that I want to talk about myself, but it's just nice to know that like, there's reciprocation that they're listening. Because I feel like a lot of younger people, I don't like not talking to them, but just having a conversation with them. A lot of young people just talk about what they know and they just talk about themselves. And I want to know that you have that skill where you could go back and forth. Because then there was one time I was dating a guy for like 6 months and he didn't know anything about me.
Jeez.
Yeah. And I didn't notice until 6 months. And I was like, oh yeah, when I played basketball in high school. And he was like, you played basketball in high school? And I was like, yeah, I played like for like 8 years, like for a while. And it's weird that you don't know this 6 months into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is interesting. Yeah, it's a happy medium because I feel like if you're on a first date with someone and they're like, you can't get a word in edgewise just because they're so excited to talk about themselves.
Yeah.
That shows like at least low grade narcissism.
Yeah.
I think. But if it's like pulling teeth, then it's almost like the other extreme where they have low self-esteem and they don't, they're afraid to talk about themselves. So you got to find someone that's in the middle, I think.
That's true. Have you been on a boring date recently?
No, I haven't been on a date in a little while. I don't have seasonal depression, but I feel like a lot of people do. You know what I mean? It's been,
with like the cold and everyone doesn't want to
it's interesting. Yeah, it's
participate.
I think I've been stuck in the talking phase for longer than is like it's an unusual amount of time. And then I'll be like, well, how about this date and this time at this place? And they're like, yeah, maybe. And I'm like, what the fuck?
Ew, just say no.
Yeah.
You know, ghost me. I don't care. Just say
people are weird, man.
Yeah. How do you feel about this whole like situation? Do you know about the whole situation thing? Situationship.
So how would you define a situationship?
I feel like it's people that are just sleeping together that don't want to necessarily be in a relationship with one another.
Is it similar to a friends with benefits?
Yeah.
Is the difference being that with a situationship, because I've heard women describe it and it always seems negative.
Yeah.
So it's friends with benefits where those parameters were not discussed though.
Yeah.
Where it's like almost like the way I conceive of it is that the man is sort of stringing a woman along.
I think that's half of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other half is they don't know how to communicate what their needs are.
Okay.
And there's like a lot of insecurity where like I don't know how they're going to feel about what I want, so I'm just going to let this play out and see what happens.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Cuz if you if you have that difficult conversation, then it could end. That's the problem with relationships a lot of times, I think, is if you're like, okay, here's something that's bothering me, but if I bring it up, I might find out that there's a deal breaker.
Yeah.
Like that's why I think people avoid difficult conversations for weeks, months, maybe even years.
Yeah.
Because like there might not be any resolution if you bring it up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Because once you bring it up, you got to face the truth. And that's when you actually have to make a decision whether it should move forward or not. I didn't mean for this to become so serious.
No, this hey, at the Before Hours podcast, it could become serious at any moment.
Okay.
Yeah, but at some point I'm going to fart again and that will bring levity back to the room. But yeah, because if you're a woman, for example, and you're like, hey, I want a relationship with you, he either says yes or no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's almost like, it's not an ultimatum, but it is like knowing what you want and trying to get it.
Yeah.
You know, because the alternative is to be in the, it seems stressful. I've heard women comedians specifically on stage, when they say the word situationship, I see women in the audience get sad.
Yeah. It's a lot of like speak
Yeah.
and then crying.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like men shut down when we say that word though.
Really?
Yeah, they're like, oh, another woman talking about her feelings or kind of thing.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing, especially I feel for women at open mics because you're talking to usually 90% men.
I don't remember the last time I talked to a woman at an open mic.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie. It was probably like 2 weeks ago.
And honestly, the few times in my career where not in an open mic at a show where for whatever reason it was mostly women,
Yeah.
it is scary.
For you?
Yeah, because
Really?
if it's a crowd of men and women and they're mostly couples or whatever, it's like, all right, these people are either gonna think I'm funny or I'm not funny. But like a room full of mostly attractive women, I'm like, fuck, I feel like I'm naked right now. You know what I mean? I feel like if they collectively as a group decide I'm not funny, it's as if they all flicked my soft penis. You know what I mean? Is that a weird way to feel? So I imagine it's unnatural to be in a room where the crowd is one type of person in general.
Oh,
I feel
yeah.
like so like at an open mic, any open mic you do, like you said, is gonna be almost entirely men. And that's unnatural because men laugh at certain types of stuff so yeah, that is the thing. I don't know. It gets uncomfortable in general when people, because there's that Louis C.K. bit where he's like, racism was an accident, but sexism is deeply embedded in our biology. You know, where it's like we're kind of destined to not like each other to some level.
Yeah. We're built differently in that sense.
Yeah.
That's shocking to me.
But I think I've learned more. People are going to make fun of me for saying this. I've learned more about women doing comedy in New York and seeing them perform.
Yeah.
Than I think I otherwise would have. You know what I mean?
I understand that.
Because there's a certain openness that you need to, well, not all comedians. I mean, because some people just do observational humor or some people do a character, but most people get very deep and personal in a way that you wouldn't normally be in polite conversation.
Yeah,
you know?
for sure.
So I don't know if I'd know, for example, I don't think if I'd know about situationships if it wasn't for seeing women do stand-up.
That's understandable because I learned so much about men that I didn't think were like real things.
Okay, such as?
But I like I don't know. It's weird. Okay, I just noticed this yesterday because I went to an open mic and it was like all men, and someone said the word rape, and I like peered my head in, and whoever was on stage was like, "Oh, hey, Cesh," and then they changed the topic immediately. I was like, "Oh, they're like." I knew that men kept things from women, but like, what is it? What could it have been that they are keeping from us like this?
Fellas, here's how you do it.
When you see a girl, we should have a radar.
Oh, that's like oddly, what's the word? Like chivalrous or like paternalistic, where they're like,
you think it's respectful that they changed the topic?
I think they were just gonna do a rape joke, and they're like, not in front of the lady, as if you don't do comedy every day in New York.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like you wouldn't be able to handle it. That's hilarious. Yeah. That's interesting.
They ask me about some of the craziest shit too, because they see me as like the resident woman at some mics, and they're like, oh, like what do women think about like period sex? And I'm like, okay, I don't know if I want to talk about, I don't want to do a seminar all of a sudden in front of like all these men, like trying to teach them things. And I was like, some of you guys are like in your late 30s. Like, I'm not going to teach you how to talk to women now, you know?
Oh my God, that's so much pressure.
Yeah. Because I don't even know what the fuck is going on half the time.
That is okay. And this was at an open mic, and I hope that was an learning experience for him, because there's no way at a regular show you could ask, I don't know, a middle-aged tourist from Arkansas if she likes period sex in front of her husband.
Exactly. Oh my, there's some points at like mics and shows where it's like when it's all men that like I feel like I should just go up there and I'll be like, any questions, and then they just start raising their hands. and asking me questions.
Damn.
I feel like I should do one of those like once a week or something. I'm like, okay, we need to get your shit together.
So Sesh, are you a morning person or a night person?
I've been waiting for this question. I am, I say I'm a morning person, but I am more lively in like the middle of the night.
Okay.
Yeah.
That seems like they're in conflict with each other.
Yeah. Which sucks because like I have a lot of it. Like the thing is I'm fueled by sunlight. I like photosynthesize basically.
You're a plant.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how I like to think of it. But I notice I'm more energetic and I'm more creative when I'm the most tired.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like I feel like I stop thinking and things kind of just flow.
Because you're sort of almost in the state where you're like loopy, and that's where the creativity comes from.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've noticed that when I'm sleep deprived, which I try not to be, but
Yeah.
like whenever I am, I'm like, oh, I am thinking of ideas.
Yeah.
I think it's the part of your brain when it's like still sleeping.
Yeah.
And you're like,
It's not fully in control.
Mhm.
So it kind of just goes haywire.
So you find that you're very awake at night, but you thrive in the morning, or you wake up early in the morning?
I'm happier in the morning.
Interesting.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
why I like to say I'm a morning person. I'm like happier, I'm more cheerful, but I'm not as creative.
Okay.
Yeah. And then when the sun goes down, I'm like, I look like such a bitch, but I feel like I could write better. I could perform better.
So how's your sleep?
Oh, shitty.
Yeah.
So shitty. Like this past week, I slept a cumulative 6 hours.
Oh, that's very bad, Sesh.
Yeah. From like, what day is it today? Sunday?
Sunday.
This
Super Bowl Sunday.
Sunday to Friday, I slept, what did I say, 6 or 9?
6.
6 hours. Sorry, the number got messed up in my, it was 6 hours. And then on Friday, I slept 14 hours.
Okay.
Yeah. And then last night, I think I slept like 4.
You sleeping 14 hours is your body being like, we have to relax.
Yeah.
And is that
But
common?
that's like 20 hours technically in that week. That's how it's sleep math, dude. That's sleep math right there.
They say you don't catch up on your sleep. Like if you have a bad night of sleep and then you have a good night of sleep, it doesn't make up for the bad night of sleep.
I don't believe that.
Ooh.
Yeah. Well, that's like a personal thing. Because like after sleeping 14 hours, I had breakfast and then I was drinking water all day and I was like, oh, this is what it's like to be human.
Yeah.
Like a real person.
So do you eat breakfast every day?
No, I don't know. Cause growing up, I just didn't do it. Like I never had time in the morning. I always like woke up, got dressed and then left. And that's how I live my life now. Yeah.
Dude, I gotta eat in the morning. I'll like
Yeah.
pass out. And I knew I was almost late to be here, so I, like a crazy person, ate like a peanut butter sandwich over the sink.
I understand that.
Yeah.
I completely
I need
understand
my
that.
carbs and protein to riff, baby. I have to riff for a whole hour. How disrespectful to people that actually have jobs.
I
I'm like, I have
would-
to talk for a whole hour.
Oh no.
Yeah. So okay, so I've never been to San Francisco.
Yes.
What is San Francisco like?
It is really like calm and there's a lot to look at. It's a place where you could just stand there and stare at things, I feel like. It's a place where you could really think.
Okay.
Yeah.
God, I want to move there so badly.
Really?
I mean, in New
You've
York,
never been there?
everyone's like screaming constantly. You know what I mean?
That's what I like about it. Because when I'm over, there's a lot to do in San Francisco, obviously. And I think it's because I lived there my entire life. And I'm like, I'm sick of this. And I like how crazy everything is here.
Yeah.
I crave chaos.
You crave chaos
So much, dude. When like, because even when like a subway platform is quiet, I'm like, ooh, like anything could happen right now. You know?
You're like, I can't. Maybe someone will push me in front of the train. Who knows?
Yeah, you know, some random character's just gonna pass by you like yelling slurs, and you're like, yeah. Fuck
New York,
yes.
baby, the city that never sleeps.
Yeah, and I sound like such a Californian when I talk about like how I love all the craziness of New York, but it's so exciting because this only time I remember I was on the subway and some guy was like, I'm on shrooms right now. And then I just bursted out laughing. And then I heard like other people laughing around me. And it feels like such a big community. I love that part of it.
Oh, there is a sort of thing of like, we're all in this together, especially if you're
Yeah.
on the New York subway.
Yeah.
Like someone starts acting crazy and you're like, all right, well now everybody besides the crazy person is my like ally.
Exactly.
In whatever is about to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like no one gives a fuck about anybody here. Yeah. The only sense of community I had like back home was like church. And I was like, I don't know if I could keep going with this.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Well, I want to delve into more about what church is like and what San Francisco is like and what being a matchmaker is like. But unfortunately, we are out of time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, time flies when you're having fun, but we'll definitely have you back.
Oh, thank you.
Assuming you want to be back.
This is fun. Yes.
Hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Well, folks, before we end, actually, can you tell the people where they can find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at Cesh Reyes, SESHREYES. And you'll see me around if you follow me there. Find my shows, stalk me, find me.
Definitely stalk Cesh. Follow her on everything. She's so hilarious, guys. Thank you for joining us. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
And remember, folks, early to bed, early to rise makes a man healthy, wealthy, and wise. I'm just playing night owls. I love you.
Thank you.